All right. Good evening. I'm going to call the September 24th. Sorry, I had 23rd here. 24th, 2024 regular meeting of the town board to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Present.
Councilmember Delarada.
Here.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Here.
Councilmember Brennan.
Here.
Deputy Supervisor Drescher.
Here. All right. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We wish to respectfully acknowledge that Niskayuna is on the traditional lands of the Kanekihaka and the Mohikanac peoples, past and present, and we honor with gratitude the land itself and the peoples who have stewarded this land throughout generation. All right, approval of minutes. May I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from July 23rd, 2024 and August 21st, 2024?
Motion to approve the minutes from the July 23rd, 2024 regular town board meeting and a motion for the August 22nd, 2024 special meeting.
All right, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second on both motions.
Okay. Are there any changes to those sets of minutes? All right. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the July 23rd, 2024 regular town board meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? All right. Minutes are approved. And then all those in favor of approving the August 21st, 2024 regular town board meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any oppositions? All right, minutes are approved. Moving on to privilege of the floor. The floor is now open for residents. If there are any residents who are not able to sign up, you will still have an opportunity to speak, but we'll go through the list first.
Nora.
Good evening. Good to see you. My name is Nora Galto. I reside at 1049 Palmer Avenue. I've been a Niskayuna resident for 40 years. And I would like to comment on the last resolution on the agenda, number 2024-233, appointment of a town supervisor. I don't know what process was used to make the appointment, but needless to say, I think some of those questions might be answered tonight, I'm hoping. I feel a little bit shut out by that process, but that's not unusual in some of the situations we've had with the town. I would like to understand who submitted applications and why you made the choice you did, why this candidate is the best one out of all the several applications that were submitted. So I'm asking when this resolution is presented, if possible, each council member, for the residents here and for those residents that may be listening now or online or later, that each of you give your reasons for why you chose or support Aaron, or reasons, or if you have reservations, what those reservations are, and the process that you use, just the criteria you use to select a candidate. It would be interesting and helpful, I think. As I recall, Aaron as a confidential secretary was wonderful. She did her duties well. She was professional in her demeanor. She helped me in gathering information, and I appreciated her for that. She was very responsive, and she seemed to care about doing the job to the best of her abilities. But she did admit that she was ill-equipped and lacked the skills necessary to handle press releases and public relations, and in fact, agreed to take a very significant pay cut so that a public relations firm could be hired by the town. So that weakness, in my estimation, is of concern, given the climate that we have right now with the town's utility rate structure and the looming budget hearings that are coming up. And I'm sure you'll come alongside her, but I think she's a trial by fire right now. The town supervisor, in my opinion, I hope Erin has the opportunity, she's given the opportunity to kind of come before all of us, either in a town board meeting presentation. I think you've got something planned, I'm not sure, but I would like to see her resume come to life through her own words and have her tell us about her opinion or her experience managing money, managing people. What's her vision for the next 16 months? You know, I'd like to hear about that and her leadership style and just some of the logistics of what her hours are going to be and how available she'll be to the residents of Niskuna. But I remain hopeful, and I look forward to hearing from each of you as to your rationale, you know, for bringing Aaron to the top and others not so. And you may be supportive on 100% or maybe 85%, whatever. But I'd just like to understand some of your rationalizations there. I respect each of you. I know you have a huge responsibility and an accountability too. And so, and that will take its place at the polls if we feel that you're not being accountable. But I appreciate you. And for anybody in leadership and authority, you deserve our prayers, and that you got mine. So thank you for this time.
Thank you, Nora. We appreciate you as well.
Joe Yankel.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Joseph Yakel. I live at Vroman Ave. I've been a resident for over 20 years, so I don't normally read off a script, but I had a few things that I wanted to make sure I didn't miss. So I wanted to start off on a couple of good notes. First, Joe, thank you for stepping in to fill in. I know it's been difficult over the last month with a couple of resignations. Appreciate you doing that. I also wanted to thank Chief Koken for his team doing a traffic study on my street. I attended traffic safety meeting a week or so ago because we had some problems with speeders. Very responsive. He put out some test equipment, did an 11-day traffic study, and I've got a temporary mobile speed unit set up, which I know is definitely slowing traffic down. So he responded very quickly, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. Related to that, he's also talked to you about an apprenticeship program with the police department with SUNY Department of Labor. That's 2024-220. I support that one. It doesn't cost the town anything. It gives these recruits that are going through the police training some additional college credits. That's good for the town. That's good for the residents. So I appreciate that one going forward. The not so good news that I want to talk about is Resolution 2024-232, which is the resolution approving the warrant for residential and commercial utility billing for the first half of 2024. That's the January to June billing cycle. That's the fall bill. I'm going to ask the board to either set this resolution aside until it can be modified, or if it's raised for adoption tonight, I would like to see the board not second the motion on this. I think it's not ready, and it's not ready for several reasons. I'm going to give you some specifics here. This resolution is seeking water and sewer rents using the same rate design that was used in the spring bill. I know this because I compared the two bills, and they're nearly identical. For this billing cycle that's currently in the graphic that's in the handout, you can see that the sewer district rent is $25,000 more than it was in the spring bill, and the water rent is going to be up by $45,000. So with this utility billing cycle, rather than seeing the money go in the negative direction, which is what all the residents and business owners have been talking about with an adjustment, we're actually seeing the rents increase again with this bill. In other words, this resolution is contemplating even higher revenue than the spring bill, and that's the bill that created all the chaos. I also want to note that there's over $475,000 in prior due rents from the spring bill that's part of that graphic. Please keep in mind that there are residents and business owners that couldn't pay their bills in the spring, and that makes up these missing dollars from Sewer District 1, Sewer District 6, and the combined water. So if they couldn't pay their bill 6 months ago, and they've now got another bill that's coming up in a matter of a couple of weeks, you're going to be faced with residents and business owners that are behind on the first bill, and they're not going to be able to make the second bill. So you've got a snowball effect. Jason, John, Joe, Jessica, Bill, I'm not using your first names out of disrespect. You're board members, you're part of this council, but you're also my neighbors. And what you do here every time that you sit before us and you make changes and resolutions, it affects everybody in the town. As this resolution stands, I don't think you can approve it. I think you have a moral obligation not to and a fiduciary responsibility not to. And I want to bring this back to the original point of what happened in April. You guys voted on a utility bill. You were given some information. According to what was told to you, it was going to be on about $60 average. You found out after the fact, like everybody else did, that is not what happened at all. Some people got bills that were hundreds, even thousands of dollars more. So you voted on a utility rate design and a rate increase that was based on some misinformation. But over the course of these last 6+ months, you've heard more information. John, you said.
Thank you,
Bill
sir.
said, can I just wrap up just 30 seconds? You said that you would fix the problem if you realize what it is. Now, having seen what's happened here, you know that this spring bill created so much of a problem. And if you vote for this resolution again, it's essentially the same formula used in the spring bill. So I don't know how you could, go ahead and do something like that. So I'm asking you either not to vote on this or don't second it, and even do something, put TBD, to be determined, in any of these areas where the revenue is, knowing that this rate design is going to be modified. That's what I believe.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Gail King.
Good evening. I'm Gail King, Niskayuna resident, Niskayuna business owner, Niskayuna property owner. I have questions about the town water, questions about the new buildings, water rate increases 200 to 500 times. How are these increases justified? Increases by projects, by buildings, or the most logical actual water use? Our new manufacturing building will be 5 stories high. How many cars, how many employees, how many bathrooms, how many kitchens? New school board building with 100 parking spaces. A new attached addition with how many bathrooms? These projects were passed through planning and town boards. No time for questions from the public. If you had asked me, I would tell you the addition to the school board building does not match the existing building. Has anyone noticed? The blame game, where is all this new money going? Poof, disappears. Don't worry, just tack some miscellaneous numbers onto the water sewer bills. Niskayuna residents have so much money they will never notice they are being scammed. Oh, but they have noticed. Where is all this additional money? Where is the $2,000 a year you added to my commercial water bill that's with no increase in usage? You are collecting millions of dollars above your needs year after year. Poof. Where did the money vanish to? Has the money been spent on parks and ball fields our children are not allowed to use, even with an adult present? Do the visitors to our parks pay a fee? Are we all being treated the same? Of course, we all understand GE has priorities. The new 5-story manufacturing of windmills was rubber stamped through the town board. Only a few hundred parking spaces needed. The Niskayuna School Board's new offices were rubber stamped. Have you noticed the new add-on to them, to their new location on Balltown Road? Yes, 100 spaces there. No affordable housing in Niskayuna. The proposed apartments and townhouses on Balltown and Van Antwerp have continually been blocked. People of Niskayuna, I'm asking you to pay attention. You are responsible for this town. You are taxed for everything, even the water you drink. We are paying people to take care of our town. They need guidance. They need you to pay attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail.
Kevin Walsh.
Good evening, Kevin Walsh, 2843 Whitmire Drive. I would have liked to have this discussion at the engineering committee meeting, the last one, but I wasn't unable to attend. As you know, the residents of Whitmire Drive have had concerns with the bringing in of organics to the wastewater treatment plant. We had several meetings over the years. In fact, we had a special meeting with all the residents about 3 years ago. At that meeting, we talked about the concerns. We had a list of potential mitigation items, which is still outstanding, and those were documented. That time, we were told that no tractor trailers would be making deliveries, only straight frame vehicles like septic vacuum trucks, and they hold about 3,000 gallons. And I'm sure I have a written communication from the town stating so, and pictures included in that communication. Apparently, we decided to make a change and bring in these 8,000-gallon tractor trailer Chobani trucks with the way into the plant. No discussions or notifications were made to the residents of Whitmire Drive. So I'm asking that you discontinue the deliveries until a qualified professional engineer can evaluate the roadway and ingress and egress to Whitmire Drive from River Road. As you know, the town is exempt from planning and zoning, and we would hold other businesses accountable to make sure that they perform those analysis to make sure it's safe. And I know that you guys all are concerned with safety, and it's important to you, and I appreciate that. Just for information, I've seen vehicles that, especially the tractor trailers exceeding the 10-mile-an-hour limit on the curve, tractor trailers without functioning brake lights, and traffic backed up on River Road trying to make the turn into Whitmire Drive. I've also seen deliveries come from the east where the road is restricted to a 6-ton weight limit, and these trucks are up to 80,000 pounds. So I'd like some action to be taken to make sure it's safe for everybody there, and I know you do also, and I'd be glad to meet with you or walk the road anytime. Please contact me. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Leslie Gold. Okay. Dan Sexton.
Good evening. Dan Sexton. I live on Orland Drive. Been a resident of the town for a little over 20 years. I want to bring up an issue that I brought up last time. I want to bring it up again, just to remind you of what I believe is a financial issue associated with the town and the collection of water and sewer rates. And when the new sewer rates were put in, particularly for Sewer District 1, we went from having that part of the property tax to then being a separate bill. Now, what happened was in the budget for 2023, there was a $1,086,049 expected revenue on the tax side for Sewer District 1. When we switched over, it appears that from the collected amount from Sewer District 1 was $612,475. $612,475. Now, what that did, and if you look at what actually happened, we only got basically $12,000 as tax revenue. So we basically lost $61,574 worth of revenue from Sewer District 1 because it was never billed for the first 6 months of the year. So I'd like the town to go back and figure out what happened here. And if, unfortunately, with the higher rates, but if Sewer District 1 didn't end up paying for the first half of 2023, then we've got a problem. And what happened, if you look at the reserve for Sewer District 1, it went down over $1 million in 2023. And that's where part of this was. Now, part of that was gotten back, should have been gotten back from the utility bill that was billed at the back last March, and that really accounted for the last half of 2023. So that's where we have a problem. Another issue that I discovered is brought to my attention that, and I'll go back. This was well before I woke up to issues in Niskayuna. Back in 2023 or 2011, take you back on back memory lane, there was a court case. And this court case was about 4 employees that signed up for the wrong retirement system. Now, what happened was that court case was litigated several times and went all the way up to the appellate court, where the complainants or the people who were suing the town lost. So the town of Niskayuna defended that several times. Now, then people from Niskayuna, I guess from the board here, petitioned the state, and the state passed a bill that allowed those people to be entered back into the pension system. But that was at a cost. It was at a cost of $712,000. And there was another $34,000 a year that would be applied to that every year that that employee was an employee of the town.
Thank you, Dan.
Let me finish. I'm almost done. Now, I went back and I tried to find out where that $712,000 came from. And I couldn't find any record of any resolution that was passed or how that money was allocated. So I'd like to know where that money came from. How did that bill get paid? Thank you.
Thank you. Marina?
Marina Franch, 2200 Dean Street. I was fortunate enough to sit in on a finance meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I was very impressed with the collaborative environment that I witnessed. Everybody seemed to really care. Everybody was paying attention to each other. Several people that are on the board right now were there. And several of the people that are in this room sitting over there were also there. So what concerns me, I'll be very short, I don't need my 3 minutes. What concerns me, I've mentioned many, many times, is we need expertise. We need financial expertise. Now, if you asked me to design a road, even though I'm an engineer, I couldn't do that because I've not been trained as a civil engineer. So a lot of the people on the board are attorneys or social workers. They haven't been trained as controllers. So nobody holds that against anybody, really. That would be very unfair. But it's really important that there's expertise in figuring all this stuff out. I'm not going to reiterate what Joe said. I'm not going to reiterate what Dan said, but you've been listening to us for at least 6 months now, and there hasn't been expertise. People don't really know what they're doing and have deferred to someone who was supposed to know what they were doing, who was Beth. It's been clear that a lot of people don't think she used a correct model. Now, I know she took classes at Cornell, but she wasn't trained. This was not her bailiwick. So I don't have any reason to know if she did the right thing or the wrong thing. But the fact that the lack of correct collection for water went on for so long with nobody on the town board recognizing this. You're all in touch with Matt, so I don't understand why nobody knew what was going on. So we can't reverse history, but on a go-forward basis, it's critical that people on the town board know what's happening. Now, why am I saying all this? One, because I don't want to pay the same kind of bill that I had to pay last time. I don't have it. And if I don't have it, and I was an engineer and I have savings, what about the person that wasn't an engineer that was making maybe $18 an hour if they were lucky? How are they going to pay it? Or what about the businesses that are now going from a couple of hundred to a couple of thousand? How are they going to pay it? And how does that help? I'm going to use up my time. How does that help Niskayuna to keep businesses here? It's a real problem if businesses leave. So there's a real vested interest, a real need for people to have somebody who has the seikel. It's a Yiddish word that means the know-how to figure all this financial stuff out. What I'd like to say in terms of the supervisor, Erin, she is one of the loveliest people I've ever met in my entire life. And I've been on this planet for a pretty long time. She's just lovely. However, I don't think she has the background. So she could be a supervisor without having the background, but she needs to have somebody with the background to guide her through all this. If you put her in this role and she has no background, we're going to be in the same mess that we've been in, and people are going to get more and more upset.
Thank you.
And I think this needs to be avoided. So please figure out how to deal with this. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina. And thank you, Dan. I didn't say thank you. I was in the middle of a note. I apologize for that. I'm a slow writer.
Tommy Ichi.
Good evening. I am Tommy Nikki, 1604 Lexington Parkway, and business owner as well. I had a bunch of notes, but I'm going to skip them all and pretty much yield most of my time and say simply that whoever becomes our supervisor, we are a full-time town with a full-time budget and a full-time police staff, full-time issues, and full-time passions. And we need to do whatever it takes over the next 16 months to have a full-time supervisor. You cannot have a large organization or corporation like this and a part-time CEO. So I don't know what the process is to do that. And clearly that's not going to happen today or tomorrow, but I believe we can take steps over the next 16 months to make sure that we don't have 5 part-timers leading us, but 1 full-timer and some educated people around them who are working part-time. Thank you.
Ashok.
Good evening. My name is Ashar Subramanian, and I reside at 2023 Arcona Court. I'm a Niskayuna resident for 14 years. I serve on our Conservation Advisory Council, and I also serve on our Comprehensive Planning Committee. First, I'd like to sincerely thank the town board and acting supervisor for the enormous amount of work that they have put in over the past few weeks in selecting a new supervisor. It cannot possibly have been easy. So please accept my thanks. If she is selected, I've worked with Erin. We have worked together on the Comprehensive Planning Committee. I believe she's very capable and she's very able. And I've also found her to be a very good listener. I will wish her all the best in her new role, and I very much look forward to working with her and you all also. I would also like to take this opportunity to say a few words about the many acrimonious and hostile interactions that have happened here. It makes me sad. I'm an immigrant to the United States. This country has given me a lot. I believe that the United States is simply the best country in the world. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. I came here in 1996 with $500 in traveler's checks. I'm sure most of you don't know what that means. And now I own a home in Niskayuna, and I have a great job and a great family. No other country is this possible. I am, however, seriously saddened by the bitter animosity that is happening at the national level. It's also happening in Niskayuna as well. Disagreement is not a bad thing. I will go one step further. Disagreement is a necessary thing. Only in places like Putin's Russia do we have a complete absence of disagreement. Disagreement is not a bad thing. But disrespect is another matter. We must learn to disagree without being disrespectful. We must learn to disagree without being disrespectful. The laughter of Vladimir Putin will be our only reward if we fight viciously among ourselves. Hateful rhetoric is counterproductive and it solves nothing. Here again, I cite the example of Abraham Lincoln, my favorite person and my hero. The following quote is attributed to Lincoln: "Do I not destroy my friends when I make them my enemies?" At the start of this meeting, we took the Pledge of Allegiance. It contains these words: one nation, under God, indivisible. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashok.
I do not have anyone else on my list.
All right. Anyone else? Come up to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your leadership and
We
allowing
need
me.
name.
Oh, sorry, but just getting to that. My name is Ashley Breslin. I was raised in Niskayuna. I am PTO president at Birchwood School, a proud mom to 2 Birchwood Beagles, and my husband serves on the Niskayuna Police Department. I'd like to begin by addressing something important. Having attended several town board meetings, I was appalled by the way our former supervisor, Jamie, was treated and spoken to via this very platform. The comments directed at her were uncivil and crossed the line into personal attacks rather than constructive criticism. I want to remind everyone that being our town supervisor, she, Jamie, is also a mother and a daughter. None of us would tolerate our own mothers or daughters being spoken to in such a way. Moreover, the way we speak and act sets an example to our children, shaping what they see as acceptable behavior. There's a simple acronym I think that we could all benefit from. Before we speak, we need to think, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Fortunately, we now have the opportunity to move forward with Erin Cassidy Dorian willing to help step into this role. I first met Erin when she coached me at Niski Pop Warner cheerleading. I tried to pinpoint the exact year, but I could only narrow it down to the 90s. Why do I mention this? It's not because Erin has the best toe touch I've ever seen. But think about anyone you've ever worked with who has served as a coach. Coaches are among the best motivators, team players, and most dedicated individuals you'll ever meet. They inspire others, they lead by example, and they know how to bring people together. Erin is no different. Erin's connections and contributions to Niskayuna run deep and are far-reaching. She was president of the Birchwood PTO and served as coordinator for ASEP programs. But it's not just her service that sets her apart. It's her passion. Alongside her husband, Zach, Erin spearheaded the Niskayuna High School entryway project, securing the funding needed to transform it into something we can all take pride in. Now, every time we walk through those doors and attend a football game or school event, we're reminded of the dedication Erin has poured into this community. Erin embodies the qualities of a good leader: integrity, empathy, and a talented communicator. After getting her MBA, Erin worked in financial services with BOCES and continued to assist in building a service for school districts doing actuarial accounting services. She then worked as a visiting professor of management at St. Rose while consulting for municipalities and schools. She went on to serve in the private sector for 6 years. In Erin, we will have someone who not only understands what it means to serve, but also leads with a sense of purpose and heart. We need leaders who see the big picture while never forgetting it's the individuals who make up this town. So tonight, as we move forward, let's remember what true leadership looks like. It's an unwavering commitment to bettering our town, and I am confident that under her leadership, Niskayuna's best days are still ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Asher. Anybody else? Yeah.
Hi, good evening. My name's Renee Barons. I live at 2314 Algonquin Road. While I only bought my house there a little over a year ago, I grew up in Niskayuna and I'm more or less a lifetime resident. My parents are still in Avon Crest. I also went to high school with Erin, and I also know her through the cheerleading program. And I bring that up to show the longevity of what she has put into this town. So what I just wanted to do is take a moment to give her a little support. I understand that she worked under Jamie, and I understand that Jamie's tenure with the town came with some strife. I read the papers. Like I said, this is my first town board meeting, but I understand what went into some of the history here. I would just like the town residents to take a moment to give Erin a chance. Let her show you what she's capable of. Let her show you what her plan is, and give her a chance to bring her own identity to this role. This is a temporary position, and if she's really great at it, they're probably going to reelect her into it. But before people trash talk and really go into a negative, spiral that this entire country has seemed to embody throughout politics for the last 10 years, why don't we just give her a chance? She is a Niskayuna town resident. She is someone who has poured her heart into this town. I see her at places I don't expect to see her. She doesn't even know I was going to be here tonight, but I wanted to come out and support a classmate of mine. So please take that into consideration, and I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Renee. Anybody?
Leslie Gold, and I've been in this queue since I was 2.5. I'm a bit older than Erin and the other ladies who went to school with her, but I got a couple of things I really need to say. One goes back to the office building on Balltown that the Niskayuna Central School District is leasing for 10 years. The addition was part of the site plan. It has been thoroughly reviewed by the planning board. And I will note that I'm a member of the planning board and the zoning commission. If in fact the school district was the builder and had taken ownership, the planning board would not have had a role in this at all because it is considered part of the state education department and therefore exempt from town review. That's the way life is. Regarding the supervisor position, it's an elective position. There are no particular qualifications, and it comes down to normally what the voters prefer amongst the candidates. We are in an odd situation where we had somebody leave with more than half their tenure to go, but somehow we couldn't do an election, which I think is what everybody would have preferred. But the advice to the town was too late to put this position up for election. I understand the town had several candidates. I don't know who the others were. What I do know is that Aaron Cassidy, Dorian comes into this with a better knowledge of town procedures than most of our recent supervisors. Jamie Puccione had no background like that. Yasmin Syed also had no background like that. She claimed to be some financial expertise from working at Albany Med. She thought she could continue in that job full time and do supervisor, found she couldn't. Well, adding up numbers is pretty much the same no matter what. The constraints under which municipalities in New York State work are far different, far more demanding. I've had that told to me by a whole bunch of people who went to work for the state, including people in the controller's office, and they said it's no comparison to private sector, period. Before that, some years back, we had Kathleen D. Cataldo elected as supervisor. Nice lady, very bright lady, no background in municipal government. And it showed, and she found she had to cut back her private work to make enough time. So when I hear people saying that the town should give up on looking at the salary, the appropriate compensation for this position, I have to say, if you're going to attract people who have relevant background, you need to offer a competitive salary. I don't believe the current supervisor's salary is competitive. You can't change it during this term. So I would like to see the town continue with that review and set it at a more appropriate, because it is a full-time position. And if somebody's counting on working full-time at something else to make ends meet, it's not going to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie.
Hi, my name is Mike. I live on Conso Road. I'm once again coming in front of this town board to ask that you do something about the speed on Conso Road. With that being said, I went to a public safety meeting, police and public safety meeting the last time. And it was an issue brought up on Conso Road, 5-day period, August 28th to September 3rd. And please give me some time. I'm not a professional speaker, so I need, I just wasted 20 seconds. Average speed, 33 miles per hour with 39 miles per hour in the 85 percentile quail. 15% tile above 39 miles per hour was 5,450 vehicles, with 84 tickets administered year to date. That's 255 days since the last meeting. This roughly is 1 to 2 tickets in a 5-day period, or every 3 days is in a 3-day shift is 1 a day, less than 1 ticket in a 24-hour period. What is the data for the remaining quail that average out to be 33 miles per hour? The 25%, the 75%, the 15% above the 85% quail. What time of day does this data show the speed in occur? The magnification of the traffic on Conso Road easily exceeds 2 million cars in a calendar year, with an excessive of 300,000 cars in the upper 15 percentile, going over 39 miles per hour. As far as the accidents go in Schenectady County, 600 to 700 the Schenectady County is defined below the normal, but with that date, the things are going to happen. The police chief says it is acceptable to go 33 miles per hour. That is why we have a speeding problem in Niskayuna. The police chief said that he talked to the county. I think the police chief said that the Conso Road is considered not a bad road. I talked to the city council highway department and explained him the situation. He responded was, we do not give out speeding tickets. We do not post out speed signs. That is the job of the town. He also said it is a state law that the towns set their own speed limit. The road is still considered dangerous. Otherwise, the town or the county would have taken down the signs. I have not got in touch with the planning board. As the taxpayer, I find this speeding on Conso Road unacceptable. And as your employer, you should find it unacceptable too. And as far as me being abrasive to that person, I take that as a compliment, and they know who they are. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Linda Rizzo, 2229 Fairlawn Parkway. First, I just want to briefly mention to you about town law that you have 2 to 17 in your manual. As a member of the town board, the supervisor has no more authority than any other individual town board member. It is clear that the board as a body must set the rules, and they are not unilaterally set by the supervisor. This 3-minute limit is not legal because it was unilaterally set and the board did not vote on a resolution. So I suggest if you want to keep this limit, you need to have a resolution. I think that's important. I was told the supervisor could make these decisions. No, you're violating your own town law. Secondly, I just want to bring up the issue of the appointment of the supervisor, and this has nothing to do with the person. It has to do with the process, because I would have been very happy if the deputy supervisor Drescher decided to stay on. I think he has done a good job. My point is process. And even if he wanted to stay on, I would have demanded, and other residents, the same thing. You had several residents ask to be supervisor. We don't know anything about that. The person who's going to get appointed is going to be making decisions for the taxpayers, us. And I think it's wonderful the department chairs like the person. And I'm sure they like Deputy Drescher. That's not the point. The department chairs are making 6 figures that we're paying their salary, the taxpayers. The person who sits up there is supposed to be for the taxpayers, a representative to help us out, not the department chairs. So this has nothing to do with the person. It has to do with the process that really was not transparent at all, not in one bit. So now we're going to have and you know what? It's unfair to the person who you're appointing because everyone makes mistakes. But as soon as someone makes a mistake without a good process, what's going to be said? Did you pick the right person? We should have had the opportunity to know who was going to be supervised, who applied, who they were, and you could have even have had a forum where these people could have come, taxpayers could have been invited, and they could have explained why they wanted to be supervisor. We were left totally in the dark. And the last thing I want to bring up is that in 2021 in November, the comptroller's office sent you a letter saying that your budget was not balanced. I haven't heard a word about that, about you even attempting any balance of the budget. That was in 2021. But you did spend $714,000 on 4 employees, despite the courts saying that the town was not at fault. It was the employees. So think about that. You were cited in 2021 for not balancing the budget. But did you work on that in 2022? No way. You just handed out $714,000. Again, with no input from the residents. And thank you, Deputy Supervisor, for meeting with myself and Daniel Sexton. You've been very approachable. You've done an excellent job. And even though politically we may not see eye to eye, we can sit, we can discuss, we can even talk at Hannaford's when you're getting groceries. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Anybody else? It's supposed to be one time per. Sorry about that. Anybody else?
Joseph Harrer, 2053 Lexington Parkway. Back to the water and sewer thing. From time to time, this unit issues bonds for various capital projects. In 2016, the town issued a performance bond to upgrade District 6 wastewater facility. The plan was to charge a fee for waste material brought to the facility by private companies. The fee would then be applied to the interest and principal on the bond. So far, that plan has not worked out. In the 2018, 19, 21, and 22 budgets, the board projected that they would take in a total of $738,000 in revenue fees that they would charge these private companies for bringing in the waste material. They made $2,022 on the deal, and they used $928,918 in fund balances to balance those four budgets. That's an excessive use of fund balances. That's not what they're for. That should not have been done. I think Supervisor Puccioni was trying to correct that situation. She got blamed for increasing water and sewer fees. Actually, those fees that people got were compared to these subsidized fees. They were subsidized by $928,918. So people in the past were paying less than they should have paid. Supervisor Puccioni tried to straighten that out. All right, so there's that. But now, in the 2020 budget, the board projected that they would collect $530,000 in revenue from these companies. They made $239 and used $1,759,317 in capital funds, instead of the fund balances to balance the budget. They used capital funds to balance an operating budget. That's a no-no. I mean, so anyway, your creditors, when you go to bond at some time in the future, your creditors are going to see this. They're going to say, oh, these people are telling us that they're using our funds for a certain purpose, and then they're turning around and using them for another purpose. Creditors are not going to come to Niskayuna and buy your bonds. I'm sorry. But that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Anybody else? All right. Privilege of the floor is closed. Next up, we'll go into committee reports, and we'll start with police and public safety. Let's go this way.
Thank you. Before I give my report, I would like to speak and say that we are not supposed to reply to privilege of the floor, but we did correct 4 officers' retirement. And those are officers who protect and serve us. And as a board, when we voted to do that, we were showing that we will protect and serve our officers as well. So I did want to state that, as there were several comments about that. Our Police and Public Safety Committee met on September 5th. Under fleet and equipment, we have a surplus of firearms, and we are transitioning our sidearms into a vendor, and we'll be getting credit for that. The vendor will also track those sidearms for safety and tracking purposes. We're upfitting a new administrative vehicle through Auto Solutions for $5,040. Under training, we have a lot of training again this month. Our department members will be taking rifle training, or they took it on September 19th, and we're working towards training for all members on that. Our police department administration and sergeants attended this DCJS symposium on September 17th through 19th, and this was our 3rd year of having that leadership management training. Sergeant Party and Sergeant Mora instructed use of force at the Zone 5 Academy, September 10th through 11th, and our goal is to cross-train Sergeant Mora to be a trainer as well. Officer Powell will be attending Defensive Tactics Instructor course at Zone 5 Academy, September 23rd and October 8th. And that was all our training. Under citizen correspondence, we had Mr. Klett come to our public safety meeting. He did speak about Conso Road. Chief Koshin explained that he has done several traffic studies on Conso Road. We discussed the speed limits and that we've at this point exhausted all of our resources possible legally, and that we would reach out to our county representatives. Both Chief Koshin and I reached out to Michelle Osterlicht and Tom Constantine to see if the county, since it's a county road, has any further ideas. They do not at this point. They're feeling like Chief Koshin's assessment and safety data is correct and accurate, and we'll continue conversations if anything new arises on Conso Road. We also had Mr. Yeagle come and talk to us, as he stated earlier, about Ruman Avenue and Morgan. And Chief said he would do a traffic study. It sounds like he did that. Mr. Yeagle explained that there's been an increase in children in that neighborhood, and they're playing and they're using the streets. So people are using that as a shortcut. So we wanted a traffic study to make sure we were doing all we can on that road. For town events, our Coffee with the Cop is continuing every third Tuesday monthly at the Senior Center. We're continuing to go to the farmers market. That's going to be going through the 12th on Saturdays from 8:30 to 12:30. And we also had the Carrot Festival on the 19th at Aguda Akim. And Chief thanked the auxiliary police for supporting us there. Under Town Clerk, we discussed the dog parks and dog permits. Our board is going to need to talk more about that. We looked more into restricting the dog park to just be for Niski residents because of two different safety concerns. One is that it's overcrowded, and the other one is that Clerk Martinelli explained that if there is a problem with a dog at the park and the dog is not from Niskiuna, it takes a lot of resources to track down the dog and make sure we're ensuring safety. So Attorney Finnan's going to be talking with us more about that and what our choices might be. For Town Clerk, we also had peddling and solicitation, ongoing conversation. We talked about our town code language might need to be more flexible. We were thinking about nonprofits that we would want to be able to solicit, but we would also maybe want to do background checks on people coming to homes, and also maybe give the public a no solicitation sticker if they would like to put that somewhere prominently near their door, if they would not like solicitation of any sort. So we're brainstorming and looking legally into those options. For school zone speeding, Chief Koshin and I are working with Michelle Osterlicht around the county road, Rosendale Road, around that area there where kids are going to school and some are walking and biking. And under personnel, we have 5 officers eligible to retire this year. So we're continuing to canvass the current civil service list for new hires. And we also are looking into a grant for license plate readers to help with crime analysis. So we'll be looking further into that and getting more quotes on that. For resolutions tonight, we're having the surplus of the firearms, and we also have our agreement with SUNY Schenectady. So this is an apprentice program through SUNY Schenectady. It's a grant through the Department of Labor that gives up to $8,000 of training for each registered apprentice. It's up to 30 college credits. They provide laptops, tutors, counseling. It's all free to our town, all free for our taxpayers, and Schenectady and Rotterdam are also participating in this new program. So we're really excited about being able to offer that to our department. And our next meeting will be October 3rd at 3:30.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Brennan. Next is community programs.
Thank you, Supervisor. So community programs, recreation, highway and parks. We met on September 5th. Highway and superintendent. Ray Smith reported personnel-wise, we still have one open position for a grounds worker. We discussed yard waste pickup as we're getting into the fall, our loose leaf and brush pickup. The schedule will be posted on the website and then in the newspaper, the Gazette. If you can bag your items after the pickup times and dates, please do so, but you don't need to do that when it's still loose leaf, brush, and pickup. We discussed our third round of paving, which occurred in the Webster Van Rensselaer area. That's going very successfully and been completed. Our open discussion, we discussed fall soccer, striping the fields, mowing the fields, and getting those ready for our fall soccer program. So I'll go right into the community programs. The fall soccer starts September 9th and continues through October 26th. Want to thank everyone, coaches, the highway department for getting that off to a good start. Lori Peretti also gave us a town pool update. It got very well used this year. Our numbers were equal to last year, if not above. The driving range had an amazing season this year. Our fall hours, our weekends only 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Lori reported about movie nights that we have here at the town and Socktoberfest. This is for donation of brand new socks. Collection is in conjunction with Things of My Very Own. The bin will be here in the town hall lobby in October. Halloween parade. We're changing that up a little bit. We're going to have activities. Usually it used to be a parade and candy. Now we're going to have some other fun events, crafts, and things like that for the kids to also do. Our senior program down at our rec center, Linda reports on that. All their programs are going very well. I encourage anyone who knows a senior that may need wants to get involved with things that they have at that, look at their Facebook page and or the town website. There's a link to the seniors program down there. They have art exhibits. They have Alzheimer's meetings, blood pressure clinics. It's a very extensive list of things that they have going on down there. And our next meeting is this Thursday, September 26th at 8 a.m.
All right, thank you, Councilmember McPartlin. Next, we'll go to Economic Development, Historic Preservation, and Environmental Conservation Committee.
Thank you. We met last, I believe it was on September 6th, and we will meet again on October 4th. That's the first Friday of the month. One big thing that we have been talking about is the short-term rental code. We have been working on that, and the planning board has been working on that. There are still some things that we need to iron out because we have to make sure that it is legally viable and it doesn't set us back with a lot of disruptions in court proceedings and the like. So hopefully that will be something that will be coming up in the very near future. Sidewalks are always a concern in the town of Niskayuna, and we have done a very good job regarding the sidewalks and the entranceways to our schools, our local schools and neighborhoods. We are continuing to do that. We're working on some sidewalks on Conso Road, which will hopefully attach some areas to the Hannaford Plaza. And our town planner is following up on our walking connections in between residents, between the schools and our neighborhoods, and our Complete Streets program. There is a new tenant in the Market 32 Plaza and Mohawk Commons, and we are very happy to have them. The Easy Method Driving School is going to go into the Market 32 Plaza, and a Wingstop will go in as well. Hopefully these businesses will continue to thrive, as well as the businesses that have been in there as well. There has been some, of course, some concerns regarding our supervisor, our loss of a supervisor, as well as our comptroller, and our search for a new one. Of course, we think that Aaron Cassidy Doran is going to do a great job. There'll be some other councilmen, I'm sure, that will speak on that. As you know, a supervisor only has one vote, same vote that the town board members have. So there's not a lot of voting power that a supervisor has, but a supervisor has to manage, and that is a very big job when you're talking about a town with the size of our town and the employees that we have, and that includes the department heads. You see this federally, on down state, on the way down to the town, right? We've always had our AOCs and our MTGs, our radical left and our radical right. But it's always been the middle that has governed. It's been the middle that brings those two sides together. And it's the middle that basically comes together and governs and manages. Unfortunately, in today's society, that middle seems to be shrinking. And it's becoming more and more difficult for the middle to govern. However, I am very confident that now we have ECD, who is in the middle. She is a centrist, like most of the people on this board are. And that's important because she has to manage people in the town hall. She has to manage department heads, and you can't do that if you're radically on one side or radically on the other. You've got to be open to everybody's ideas, and you have to be able to manage those. And that is one aspect that she has proven very adept at. She also, of course, is qualified because of her experience and because of her education. So hopefully, when given the chance and given the opportunity, we know she will do a great job, and hopefully we will have her longer than the 16 months. And it is my hope that all of you come to my next meeting, which again is going to be on October 4th, because there you can put input into the town policies. We have a lot of new members that are coming on our committees, from Complete Streets, the planning board, the zoning board. And these are the people that really set the town policy, and they give the town board members their input, and the town board members talk amongst each other, and we talk to professionals, and then we come up with what we hope is the best policy to shape our town. So please do tune in or come to my next meeting and all of our committee meetings. And again, my next meeting is Friday, October 4th. We hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Del Rada. And last but not least, Public Works.
Thank you, Deputy Supervisor. The Water, Sewer, and Engineering Committee met earlier this month on September 4th. At our meeting, Superintendent of Water and Sewer Matt Yetto gave us an update on the lead service inventory project that is ongoing. And as I've previously reported, the state has mandated municipalities to take an inventory of lead pipes throughout the town, including the water service lines that lead into privately owned homes. Postcards were sent last week to approximately 5,000 homes with instructions on how residents can identify the type of pipe entering their home and how they can submit the necessary information via the town's website. There's also information on that postcard on how residents can contact the water department to schedule an inspection, at which point a member of our water and sewer crew will come and collect the necessary information. At the wastewater treatment plant, we continued to accept whey under our pilot program. During the first week of the program, we had taken in 2 8,000-gallon tanker trucks of whey. As of our committee meeting earlier this month, we had ramped up to 4 truckloads per week, and we are currently taking in 7 truckloads per week. Following a pause this week, which was planned, we will resume the schedule, and the number of trucks will increase to 2 trucks per day, which will continue for the remainder of the 8-week pilot. Superintendent Yetto also briefed the committee regarding a water line repair at the water treatment plant. A significant leak was found in a main line that runs about 15 feet deep across the property at the water treatment plant. Work to replace that water line was completed today, and following 2 rounds of testing, the new line should be placed into service early next week. While the town hired a contractor to perform this work, the staff at the water plant and members of the water and sewer maintenance crews contributed greatly to this effort, and that partnership with our crew members significantly reduced the cost of the repair. So I appreciate everyone who spent time working on this. Our annual and much anticipated shred and electronic recycling event will be held next month, Saturday, October 26th, from 9 a.m. until noon, right here at Town Hall in the parking lot. This event is free for Niskuna residents only. Pro Shred will be on site shredding household documents, and residents can also drop off their old cameras, cell phones, computers, and other electronic equipment for safe and proper disposal. A full list of accepted items can be found on the town's website at niskuna.org/ewaste. This evening on the agenda, the town board will be voting on resolutions to authorize the replacement of a valve at one of our pump stations, as well as a change order for the installation of a third axle on a dump truck, which we originally approved last month, and resolutions related to fall water and sewer warrants. Lastly, I would just like to bring attention to a couple of vacant positions in the water department. We are currently looking for a qualified senior engineer, as well as water and sewer maintenance crew members. And I encourage anyone who may be interested in those positions to check the town website for qualifications and application procedures. The Water, Sewer, and Engineering Committee will next meet on Thursday, October 3rd at 4:30 in the Schaefer Room, and I invite the public to attend. Thank you, Deputy Supervisor.
Thank you, Councilmember Moskowitz. All right, Supervisor's report. So the town board and the finance department have begun initial discussions on the proposed 2025 budget. A preliminary budget is going to be posted. Now, this is going to be a starting point, subject to discussion and change. There is a common understanding that this budget, as should be with all budgets, is paramount and it must be deeply examined. The board's mutual goal is to keep all unavoidable increases to a minimum and to weigh all reasonable cuts where possible. As you all may know, I'm an attorney. I like to cross-examine. I like to ask questions. And that same interrogative energy will be utilized in these budget discussions. And thus far, I am truly encouraged by the level of scrutiny, the intensive questioning, and the in-depth discussions the board has shown thus far. And there's also been some conversations about bringing in possible outside sources to aid with the budget, cost and availability permitting, of course. The search for new comptroller is ongoing. We've received several resumes and have interviewed certain candidates with governmental experience and preferably residency near the town, as they would likely need to become a resident. Unfortunately, a candidate with the necessary mix of relevant background, experience, and salary range has not been found at this time. This is not a decision the board wants to force to fill a spot just to fill a spot. So the search for the best candidate is still ongoing. We have received some more resumes, and we're looking to possibly expand the search even further, maybe looking at placing an ad in a paper, reaching out to the comptroller's office, checking LinkedIn, making sure that no stone is left unturned. Luckily, we have a very strong finance department to help pick up the slack in the meantime. With regard to the ongoing discussions of water utility rates, the Water and Sewer Committee has engaged in further investigation on the real-life outcomes and effects on residents. I want to thank the committee, Councilmember Moskowitz, as well as Councilmember McPartlin, who have logged several hours in meetings and discussions to better understand these rates and their effect. On my end, I've been meeting with residents to listen to their thoughts and proposals on the rates. Between these resident meetings, the discussions that I've had with the board and I've heard at committees, I can assure you there's more commonality than one may think. We're a lot closer than we are apart. But the town will continue to consider the applicability and the effect of different modifications of the rates. And then lastly, I just want to continue to stress the importance of civility, patience, and understanding. Not just at these meetings, but in all interactions. I've had a lot of good meetings with residents, and I want to keep that same energy at every level of the town, whether it be at Hannaford, whether it be at a meeting, whether it be at one of these. We're all on the same team. I mean that. I truly mean that. And let's just respect one another. Let's stamp out the vitriol when we see it. Let's show peace, not turmoil. I appreciate you all. I hope we can all just appreciate one another. We're all neighbors. So that it's a pleasure getting to meet you all. It really has been. And this is what community is. right? And that's what we need to continue to push. So that's it for supervisor's report, and we can move on to resolutions. All right. Resolution 2024-217, sponsored by Council Member McPartlin. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution hiring additional employees in the town's Office of Community Programs.
All right. Any discussions?
Second.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. Can I have a second? Sorry. Got to jump the gun there. So yeah, like questions, wanted to talk. Any second?
Second.
All right. All right. Any discussions? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
4 ayes.
All right. The ayes have it. Resolution 2024-218, sponsored by Council Member Brennan. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the disposition of certain town-owned surplus equipment.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All right. Any discussions? All right. Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
4 ayes.
All right. The ayes have it. Resolution 2024-219, sponsored by Deputy Supervisor Drescher. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing certain budgetary modifications and inter-fund transfers.
All right. And do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussions? All right. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada. Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
4 ayes.
All right. The ayes have it. Resolution 2024-220, sponsored by Councilmember Brennan. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the chief of police to enter into a signatory agreement with SUNY Schenectady.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
4 ayes.
All right. The ayes have it. Resolution 2024-221, sponsored by Councilmember Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution appointing members to the 2025 Comprehensive Development Plan Committee.
All right. And do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All right, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
4 ayes.
All right. Passed unanimously. Resolution 2024-222, sponsored by Councilmember Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution appointing a person to the Complete Streets Committee.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussions? All right. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
4 ayes.
All right. Passed unanimously. Resolution 2024-223, sponsored by Councilmember Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution appointing an individual to the Tree Council.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussions?
I just want to quickly stress the importance of these committees, and I want to really thank the 4 people that we put on these committees. Again, they're big. I mean, one of them is a comprehensive development plan that's going to set the policy for the next 10 years. I know there's a lot of folks that come to privilege of the floor and they have a lot of important things to say, but if they really want to put those statements into action, the committees are the places to do it. So please come to the committee meetings and get on the committee boards. We need you.
And like I add just one thing on the comprehensive plan. It's very important because with the comprehensive plan, it can help us get grants, because sometimes with certain grants, if you have language or provision in your comprehensive plan looking to get what you're asking for, it may help your chances of getting that grant. So having the comprehensive plan done thoroughly and actually reflect what the town wants is very important when we go asking for grants down the road. So, all right, any other discussion? All right, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
4 ayes.
Passed unanimously. Resolution 2024-224, sponsored by Councilmember Moskowitz. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the purchase of a replacement valve for Valerie Drive Pump Station.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
4 ayes.
All right, passed unanimously. Resolution 2024-225, sponsored by Councilmember Moskowitz. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution approving a change order for the installation of a third axle dump truck.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
4 ayes.
All right, passed unanimously. Resolution 2024-226, sponsored by Councilmember Moskowitz. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the reconciliation of the first payment of the residential and commercial water and sewer rates for 2024.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember Partlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
4 ayes.
All right, passed unanimously. Resolution 2024-227, sponsored by Councilmember Moskowitz. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution appointing the reconciliation of corporate utility rents for the first quarter of 2024.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussions? All right, seeing none, will the clerk call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
4 ayes.
All right, passed unanimously. Resolution 2024-228, sponsored by Councilmember Moskowitz. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution approving the payments for expenditures related to an emergency water line repair at the town's water treatment plant.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to again thank Superintendent of Water and Sewer Matt Yetto and our water and sewer crew members for all the work they did helping our contractor repair this line. As I said in my report, the in-house expertise that we have is remarkable and significantly saves on costs when it comes to repairs like this. So thank you, Matt, and the crews. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you for that discussion. Any further?
Yeah, I'd like to echo Councilman Moskowitz's comments. I went down and visited this site, and the pipe that we're replacing, it's a very crucial pipe to our water production system. And when they discovered that the leak that they found really was a early sign of failure of the entire pipe, there was no other solution but to replace the entire pipe. We don't Band-Aid things. And this is stuff that we have to do in our town. It's infrastructure. This is where money goes. We are talking about water and sewer rates, and we're talking about old infrastructure here in our town. And when we find something that needs to be fixed, we fix it. And it costs money to fix these things. The pipe, it had a hole in it, probably about that big, but if you tapped on it with the hammer, the hole got this big. What do? You replace the pipe. And again, as Councilman Moskowitz said, our crews did an excellent job working with an outside contractor to get this done as quickly as possible. So excellent job.
Any further discussion?
Kind of had our own infrastructure week here.
It's like Shark Week, but Infrastructure Week. All right. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
4 ayes.
All right, passed unanimously. Resolution 2024-229, sponsored by Councilmember Delarada.
A resolution appointing alternate members to the Planning Board and Zoning Commission.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
4 ayes.
Passed unanimously. Resolution 2024-230, sponsored by Deputy Supervisor Drescher. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution appointing an assistant comptroller.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
So because we do not have a comptroller at this time, Janet Wynn, who, as you know, was listed, I think, as the confidential assistant or secretary to the comptroller. So this position that we've got created for the assistant comptroller is to one of the most valuable people in the town. This employee has stepped up in the absence of the comptroller and is doing a phenomenal job. So I know this personally because the board has tasked me with going in and reviewing every invoice for the town, every bill that's paid. So I get a call from Janet Wynn, you need to come in and look at these. And her and I sit down and we go over every single invoice that needs to be paid here at the town so that the town can continue to operate and pay its bills. And anytime I ask a question, she knows the answer to that question every single time. Now, this is something new for me, so I'm asking a lot of questions, right? And these are a stack of bills like this. This is once a week, stack of bills. Phenomenal person. This is going to allow Janet to take over some of these duties so that, unfortunately, I won't have to do that anymore. I don't think, but we're not sure about that. But again, she's a very valued employee of this town. And I'm very happy to second this resolution.
And just to piggyback on that, we discussed a little bit more at the finance and agenda meeting. This designation allows for Janet to sign off on things that have already been approved. So the way it was without this designation, it would be approved and it would have to touch many hands before it could be signed. Kind of explained it if you went to the store and you bought your groceries, then someone bags it, and someone bags it, and someone bags it just to get it to you. So this will allow a little bit of streamlining that process. And I can vouch for Bill. He's been here reviewing a lot of those bills. I've heard him ask a lot of questions about each one of those bills, myself included. When I've come here to sign bills, Janet's been great at answering questions. Sometimes I'll ask the same question twice and she answers it. She's a Dolphins fan. We'll let it slide. But other than that, she's great. So any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
4 ayes.
All right, passed unanimously. Resolution 2024-231, sponsored by Councilmember Moskowitz. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing a warrant for the second quarter 2024 corporate utility rents.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
4 ayes.
Passed unanimously. Resolution 2024-232, sponsored by Councilmember Moskowitz. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the fall 2024 residential commercial utility billing warrant.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
So I'd like to say a little bit about the water and sewer rates. I know a lot of the residents have come here and spoken about this. And as Deputy Supervisor said, there's not a day that goes by that we don't discuss this. We are working on this. I have personally spoken to people at Schenectady County and in other municipalities about this, and we're continuing to work on it. We're continuing to get assistance with looking at the rates as they were adjusted and the possibilities of making changes to that. No one on this board is deaf to what everyone is telling us here, and we continue to work on it. It's a difficult process. I know that it was either Mr. Sexton or Yeagle that recommended that we do not continue to collect the money on the water and sewer rates, but that's just not possible. As you can see at the bottom of this resolution, it's $3.6 million. Now, those are bills that have to go out, that have to be paid. And we need to continue to keep the town running. That's our job as elected officials here. That's what our duty is. Sometimes it's not so easy. But please know that we are continuing to work on this. And by having at least an entire year of this new rate and the new billing cycle, then that's going to allow us to then evaluate, is it too high? Can we bring it back? Can we make adjustments? And when we make those adjustments, what will be the impact of those adjustments? So sometimes that's not so easy to predict either. That's a lot of number crunching. That's not my specialty at all. But please know we are working on it.
Any further discussion? And again,
Board has taken on a couple of very large problems these past couple of years that have been mentioned here at Privilege of the Floor tonight. One of them involved 4 of our officers. And it was very important that we take that problem on because it's been kicked down the road for years, if not decades. And the problem was getting worse and it was only going to cost more money. But it was very clear to the town board that the town residents needed that problem to be fixed. The Niskayuna Police Department needed that problem to be fixed, both in fairness of the officers and for town morale, and to have other officers come here and want to work for the town. It had to be done. Taxes were not raised in regard to that. Our water rates, there was a problem with that. It was brought to our attention. It would have been easy to kick that down the road again. But that would not have been in the best interest of the town. It would have ended up costing the town more money down the road had we done that. So I want to give a lot of kudos to our prior supervisor and this current town board for taking this problem on. We are looking at certain things to see if we can adjust some things for our 501c corporations, our churches, or our other charitable organizations that are maybe taking it very difficult. However, the alternative is to raise everybody's taxes. We really don't want to do that because if it subsidizes other people that are using too much water or aren't fixing their water pipes because there aren't any incentive to do that, then we're not really solving a problem. We're just extending it. So the intent here was to have people pay for the water that they use. After we get a year of this under our belt, we will see if that intent works. And if it needs to be adjusted, hopefully we can come to some type of agreement to do that. It is not an easy fix by any stretch of the imagination, but unfortunately it is something that needs to be done.
any further discussion?
Like Councilman McPartlin said, we have these discussions every day. I appreciate everyone who comes to these meetings and speaks during Privilege of the Floor and shares their ideas and their thoughts with us. I appreciate people who come to my committee meeting every month and share their thoughts and ideas and suggestions. And we hear you. And not a day goes by that we don't discuss it. This board committed by resolution a couple of months ago to investigate potential solutions. And we are doing that. And I stand by that and we're working on it. And we hear you and appreciate everything that you've shared with us.
And if I can just stress, I've seen a lot more commonality than difference in my meetings with residents, discussions with the board, and the rest of town hall. So With that, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
4 ayes.
Passed unanimously. Resolution 2024-233, sponsored by Councilmember McPartlin.
A resolution appointing a town supervisor.
All right. And do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. So some people were asking about the process for appointing a town supervisor. When our supervisor resigned, I don't have any experience in this. I don't know that anybody else on this board had any experience. So we talked to our legal department, and Elena, if she doesn't know the answer, she'll find out the answer and research it. And she did. We couldn't have a special election. Okay. It was too close to November. So that wasn't something that this board could do. The board needed to appoint someone to be the supervisor of the town. Again, we're elected officials. We're here to do our best to run the town. That's our job. So that's what we have to do. We have to appoint someone to be the supervisor. So what I can tell you is there certainly was not a line out the door of people volunteering to take this job. Okay? Not many at all. Actually, 4 people, one sitting right here, the deputy supervisor, but as he said, he was not able to do the job. He doesn't have the time or the bandwidth to do that. Okay, fine. Erin Cassidy Dorian said she would be interested in taking the job. Okay. And then we got 2 letters, 2 other people. Okay. That were interested in possibly becoming the supervisor of the town. I spoke to both of those individuals. I spoke to Erin, again, Joe, and that's how I made my decision. One of the people wants to know how we made our decision and why I made my decision that way. So Erin has really been doing quite a bit of the supervisor job, not just for the last month, but prior to that. She's been very active in the business of running the town of Niskayuna, keeping all the board members informed on what they need to know, meeting with department heads, meeting with employees, doing the business of running the town. Erin is not a political person. She's here because she loves the town of Niskayuna. She's been here. She went to school here. Her mother served on this actual town board. She's a genuine person. She's here for the town residents. Okay. Someone said, oh, well, it doesn't matter. You get it, that you're, get along with the department heads and this and that. Well, that's part of management. That's an important piece of the job of running the town. Okay. Is to get along and supervise the department heads of the town. And from what I've seen, she has the ability, she's got the skills to do that. So that's why I'm very happy to be supporting and sponsoring this resolution. Joe, I also want to take this moment to thank you for stepping up and serving as the deputy supervisor. You know, you didn't have a lot of time in your schedule, but you've made time to meet with residents and basically really do the job. So excellent job in the time that you've served. And hopefully you're going to keep doing that for us to the best of your ability and time. So again, thank you for helping out.
Any other discussion?
Just briefly, I want to thank all the people that did volunteer to take on the time and the position. And with respect to everybody, there really was not a close second. Erin Cassidy Dorian is by far head and shoulders the best person to do this job based on her experience, based on her personality, and based on her non-political beliefs, so to speak. As Mr. McPartlin stated, she's not a political person, and that really was beneficial to all of us because we don't want to have that be the forefront. we want qualifications and personality to be the forefront, and she has both of those are a perfect fit.
I could add, and I had just pulled some of her resume up because she's a very impressive woman. Erin is a New York State Certified School District Business Leader, which qualifies her for a role in managing the finances of a school district, most of which have budgets way larger than our town budget. She worked in school finance, creating and serving in what was at the time a brand new government accounting standard. From there, she was a visiting professor while consulting with towns and school districts on this accounting standard. She's just shy of her PhD in education policy and leadership, having worked through all the coursework, comprehensive testing, and proposal hearing for her dissertation at SUNY Albany. She has an MBA with a concentration in management, a master's in education policy and leadership, and a certificate in advanced study in school business. And her background, combined with her volunteer work, community investment, the way she gets along with everyone, and her day-to-day knowledge of the policy and procedures of our town is going to provide us a pretty seamless transition with her into this role. So I'm very personally very excited for her to be on our team and stay on our team in this new role.
All right. And if I can add my 2 cents, I don't have a say. I don't vote in this. And I was rightfully so a step back from this process because I'm the deputy supervisor and it wouldn't be appropriate. But I can tell you that from the moment that I was appointed as deputy supervisor, it's been Erin. She's been there in the trenches, putting in the hours. And when I received the news that former supervisor Puccioni was resigning, after I literally put down the takeout that I picked up for me and my wife, I reached out to Erin because I knew she was going to be the one at the forefront. And I'm not going to take any credit for what's happened. I'm not going to take any credit for the town running for this last month because it's been Erin more so than me, right? I might be the face, but she is the one in the engine room shoveling coal into the fire late hours. I don't know how she doesn't have bags under her eyes, but she's doing it. And I'm saying that from my heart. I'm not going to take the credit because she's the one doing it. She's the one when I email her to put meetings in the calendar because I can't figure out a calendar because I'm still using AOL, right? She's the one who does it to that much of a level. When I found out about former Supervisor Puccioni, I reached out to all the board members. And there was a commonality. There's my theme for the day. Commonality. There was a commonality. And the commonality was Erin, right? And it wasn't like I said, oh, this is what this person said, or this is what this person said. It was, just let me know. And that was a commonality that I found. She's already shown she's done it. It's going to be a seamless transition because she already knows everyone here. She knows the infrastructure and the logistics of everything. It's not like someone new is coming in who has to learn everything. We're going to keep the stability, and she's going to hit the ground running. And, so long as she doesn't hate me and I don't get caught up watching the Cowboys and fantasy football, I'd love to serve as their deputy to keep a little more consistency. So there's my other football joke for the night. But Erin's been doing it. She's been doing it. And I will often come home from a long day and be like, Erin's still at town hall. I don't know how she does it. And I tell my wife, she's twice the leader that I am, which my wife agrees with. And I don't even know if my wife ever met with Erin. So maybe it's just my wife likes to, throw a little dirt on there. But Erin, I wish you the best of luck. And anything I can do to help, regardless of my role, please reach out. So, any further discussion?
I guess I'll go last.
Best for last. Don't worry.
I've had the opportunity to meet and communicate with Erin quite a bit in the last several weeks. Erin has committed several times in our conversations to working in a bipartisan fashion. She's committed to working with me and with this town board to explore options and potential resolutions regarding utility billing. But most importantly, she is committed and has already demonstrated that she can listen to and address the needs of our residents. Those are the things that are very important to me and to the people that we serve. And I look forward to finally being able to work in a bipartisan way for our residents, as I've always tried to do and will continue to do, because that's exactly why we're here.
Any further discussion? Oh, and one last thing. She is elbow deep in these numbers in this budget. I mean, she probably has it tattooed to the back of her eye. She knows those numbers. So, all right. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
4 ayes.
Passed unanimously. All right. And resolution 2024-234, sponsored by Deputy Supervisor Drescher. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution entering into a contract for a budget consultant.
Any second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moskowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delarada.
Aye.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Brennan.
Yes.
4 ayes.
All right. Passed unanimously. All right. Now, at this-
Swearing in, right?
Hmm?
So we're gonna swear-
Oh, we do swearing in now?
Swearing in,
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Aaron,
Aaron, if you can come up here with
we're gonna do a swearing in now for the supervisor.
who,
Do I do that?
What?
Do I do that? Does anyone know what to say? Oh, it's right now. Perfect.
I, Aaron Cassidy Dorian, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of supervisor of the town of Niskayuna
of supervisor of the town of Niskayuna
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Yeah. Hmm? Ever stand up here? Okay. That's terrible. Yeah. Aaron, do you want to say anything? You can. Listen, when I got sworn in, my father-in-law made my aunt cry, so at least we don't have any tears. So my aunt was the one who swore me in.
I'm going to be totally honest. I did not prepare anything because he's not joking when he says that I'm elbow deep in the numbers. I have a lot of things that I've been working on, so I'm going off the cuff here. First of all, I want to thank everybody who came out. I'm looking at a bunch of people who are here just to sit with me and support me, and it really warms my heart. And to everyone who spoke at Privilege of the Floor, thank you. I never expected to be in this position, but true to what's been said, I really love this town, and I am truly here to make it work for everybody to the best of my ability. And my goal is to use this transitional period to try to find some camaraderie, find some community, and to get through these issues that are facing us together. And I know that we can all do that. And I welcome anybody to come in and talk with me. I know a lot of you I've already talked with, but I welcome you all to come in and talk, because I think Marina will at least say, I love to sit and chit chat. And so really, anytime you have questions, anytime you want to talk about something, my door is always open. So thank you very much to everybody.
just want to note that I will not be doing her calendar now that the roles have switched because I can't figure that out. All right. So with that, at this time, I motion to move into executive session pursuant to Public Officers Law. Is it 1105 subsection? 105. I threw an extra one in there. 105 subsection F to discuss the employment of a particular person or persons.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? So I'm trying to.
Aye.
All right. The ayes have it. Sorry, I'm trying to write this down.